Let me change the something one a little bit. All right. This will mean interesting. Good. And we're live. Welcome back to the Anything Goes podcast, episode number 20. And it's me, your boy King Darren, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Kev Carter.
Uh-huh. Yeah, man. It's been too long. It's been too long. It's been a while. The fans have been asking, the viewers have been asking, when we're going to get back Kev Carter and Darian. Yeah, man. But how is everything with you?
I'm just thinking, man, I good man, just keeping quiet, keeping low profile. But enjoying the Euros, man, and that's the topic for tonight. We're going to discuss the Euros. We're going to talk a little bit about the first stages of the Euros, the group stages, a brief little preview, and then we can get into the round of 16. So, Kev, going to the tournament, who you think was going to be your favorite, your dark horse, and I want you to discuss that and who's been a disappointment in the group stages for you.
Okay. Well, favorite for me. Favorites for sure would have been France.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm not gonna go so far as to say England. Um, Favorites probably would have been just France. I guess you could say Germany a bit. Um, that's about it. My dark horse would have been Italy
Mm-hmm.
and Netherlands.
Mm.
Yeah, the disappointment so far for sure would have been Turkey because they had a label of being one of the dark horses and they did absolutely nothing.
They got battered in all three
So
games.
yeah, what about you though? What was
Honest,
your favorite?
I was going for it. I had France's favorites, Belgium. Italy was my dark horse, and I also thought that Turkey would have done, pretty well in the tournament. But Mr. Charlie Lawley and his friends severely disappointed me, and they got smacked up in three games. I think they actually did score a goal in the final match, but I don't know. We think went wrong. You think there was a lack of direction from this team because before going into the tournament, I heard they were a very defensive team, but to me, the defense was
Yeah,
not very good. Like I was really disappointed with the way they defended, and also I thought guys like Chalinando would have provided more going forward. So I was
yeah.
really disappointed with Turkey. So what do you think was the issue, man? You think it was nerves? You think there was just the defense wasn't good enough? You think the opposition that they faced was just crap and we were misguided? What do you think happened, man?
Honestly, then yeah, they have Shanagu, they have sorry, True, the guy from Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
They have Demaral and center defense. Yeah, they really do have a decent defense. I don't know if the pressure would have got to them. I don't know if the manager may have not been experienced. I do fancy the guy Fatih Terim, but he's a club. He's more of a club manager than the national team manager.
Mm-hmm.
The national team manager is the guy Senra Brunez. I think that's how I pronounce it. I don't know if the stage is probably too big for them or I don't know what it is that really went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the pressure and all the expectation of being labeled as probably one of the horses was it probably took it toll on them. I think they only registered like one goal in three games.
Got one goal in the final match.
Yeah. We, you so what was your take on it?
I think it was a bit of nerves, and I think too. I didn't think defense was good enough. Um,
Mm,
I think maybe what they did, the mindset was to come in, defend, part the bus and attack, and then counter attack. But I think when you want to do that strategy, you have to be very good on your defense. And I think obviously the attack wasn't good enough. As I said, I expected guys like Chalinari and those guys to hold at the ball. And to be fair, you can't really criticize him. I think he didn't get enough of the ball. So I don't know. I think it's a bit of nerves. I won't write them up for the World Cup. I'd love to see them qualify. But I think this is a severe learning experience for Turkey because they're a team that I've always favored in the past. I always had a lot of love for, and I really would like to see them compete on the world stage again. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that's something that we have to probably do a deep dive breakdown another YouTube video. But I think it's a bit of nerves, a bit of inexperience, and I think the coach got it wrong.
Yeah. Mm. Fair enough. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, the only goal they scored was against Turkey. I mean, Switzerland, sorry.
Switzerland.
You know,
Okay.
and that was the last game of the thing. So
I mean, and they had the guy up top, Zacchariah, who was turning up in Europe this season. So it
yeah,
really, it's one of those bizarre, it's one of those bizarre scenarios. Wait till you hit the nail on the head.
yeah. I want to ask you about another team, man. What were your thoughts on Belgium?
Belgium. Okay. In the first game, they really impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially guy Lukaku.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Star
also,
boy.
yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the best figures in the world, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm going to say he's one of the best figures in history. I think he's actually underrated.
Very.
Um, the fact that he would have that his goal tally for Belgium is tremendous, and he's what 25, 26,
20, 27, 27.
27,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I mean, he's doing really good. The fact that the Burner didn't even play the first game,
Mm-hmm.
and they managed to win 3-0.
Yeah.
I think it was a good performance. The second game was a bit more
It
tricky.
was a bit dodgy. But I think after the result with Denmark today, I think people we have to put that game into question because Lukaku didn't
Mm-hmm,
score, but he did put in a man of match performance. But I think
mm-hmm,
in terms of the game that played today with Denmark, I think we may have underestimated how good of a performance that was
yeah,
because they were
yeah,
1-0 down. Hazard scored, the real Hazard, and then Kevin De Bruyne came on and scored. So I think we might have to reassess that match.
yeah. Yeah, we gotta get Denmark some credit, and we also have to. Yeah, you're making a good point. Belgium actually, the fact that Belgium were able to turn that around. I mean, Wales couldn't even register a goal today, so
Mm-hmm.
it does speak volumes for the Belgian performance. The last game as well, Belgium played well in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
I do. We're not going to get into that yet, but
Mm-hmm.
the game against Portugal, I think that was really interesting, and I don't know if you're going to be surprised by my prediction, but you may or may not be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Belgium are already looking good.
All right. Briefly on Denmark, we had the incident with another footballer I'm a big fan of, Mr. Christian Eriksen. Um,
Mm.
my condolences go well. I can't say condolences, but because he's alive and well, and that's very good. This modern tech, we live in an age where people could be lives could be saved with the on-field care and the defibrillators and stuff that wasn't available 30, 40 years ago. So it's good to see Mr. Erickson up and well. Um, but what were your thoughts when it happened, man? Because when they first saw him on the ground, I just thought he got kicked in his chest, but then I see he just collapsed. Briefly, what do you think about Mr. Erickson? Your thoughts, man?
I mean, it's nothing that you ever want to see in football. It was actually a scary experience. I do like how the fans and the teammates were showing support. Um, for him during the match and afterwards. I like how the boys are already putting their heart into these matches and are playing beyond their potential. I mean, they do have a good squad,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, they're playing above their potential and they're really putting in the shift. Um, I think too, after experience like that, I would like that the doctors and the medics give some best advice on whether he should continue his career because he had a good career so far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, playing really well for Inter.
Mm-hmm.
Back to closely back to his best how he was at Tottenham. Um, but I just hope they give him the best advice on whether he should continue his career or if he should just call it a day. Because health is really more important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just hope that he makes the right decision.
Yeah, as an Inter fan, I would love to see him back on the pitch, but I think there are some things bigger than football. So I wish Mr. Erickson the best of luck. If he can come back and he's safe, I would like to wish you back, Mr. Erickson. But if not, I think it's best to hang your boots. And you're someone, I think he's a brilliant fella. I think he's a man that could do something else in football if he wants to. Yeah, he's still a young man. He's 29 years old. If he wants to move on to another field in his life, he's all welcome to do so. But I still think he could. He's a bit quiet. I don't know if he'd be a good manager, but I could see him being a good sporting director. I think he got a good brain on, so a good sporting director or something like that. But I do wish Mr. Eriksson the best. Briefly, we go look at Group C. The Netherlands top the group. Three wins or 3 games. I be honest with you. I thought Neville was gonna shit the bed. I honestly thought these guys were gonna come third or crash it with this group. Their had Mr. Frank de Boer took over from Ronald Koeman, who I always say shouldn't have left the Netherlands job to coach Barcelona. And to me, they didn't look good coming into this tournament. But so far, 3 wins from 3 games. Um, Briefly, do you think that this is Netherlands turning the corner, or this is a flash in the pan? Because I'm still not 100% on this. I still, yes, you did well in your group. You saw what Austria did today with Italy, but I'm still not 100% sold on the Dutch. Um, what's your thoughts on this, Mr. Kev?
uh,
Because you played North
I mean,
Macedonia,
yeah,
Austria, and Ukraine. Like, no disrespect.
Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no disrespect. I mean, Ukraine, that first game, I mean, wasn't convincing at all. I mean, the board, to me, I question his tactics. In that first game, they were up 2-0 against the Ukraine. And then he made some changes to me in the 60th minute
Mm-hmm.
that were so far fetched. And then they conceded the goal, like 3 minutes after the substitution. They conceded 2 goals, actually.
Yeah, two. Okay, wait to two
It was
two.
that. They went to 2-all.
And Mr. Dumfries is who bailed them out.
Yeah, I mean, he having a good tournament,
He
but
is.
I mean, like, the tactics. I mean, like, I've been starting to question it in my head, like, will his tactics and his approach be, detrimental into the later stages where you need where the top tier teams are not going to give you that chance.
Right.
Like Ukraine, due probably to a lack of experience, could have if they have more experience, they'd hold on for the 2-2 or even made it 3-2. But you know, I question whether it will come into play later.
Mm-hmm.
But the game against Macedonia and who was the other team in the group?
Ukraine and Austria.
Right. I mean, they would have performed well in those games, but at the end of the day, you can only play as good as the opponent makes you play as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really trust this Netherlands team to really get past the quarterfinals.
All right. I
So
know we're gonna skip Group D with England, Croatia, Czech Republic, and Scotland. Um,
mhm.
I'm not a big fan of Southgate, and I think he fluked to a World Cup semi-final, and I was not
Yeah.
impressed with the performance against Croatia. I think Croatia should have done better. That was a poor performance in my opinion. The Scotland game to me was dreadful. Yes, you did get your Czech Republic, but you got to go with Raheem Sterling, and I didn't see anything else in that performance. So, I'm not impressed with England one bit. I think this guy to me is a passion merchant in a way. He's a pragmatic passion merchant.
Mm,
Like you got your boy Sterling, he's bringing Sterling, but why not give Sancho a try?
mm,
You know what I mean? You got Jack Grealish there. These guys, to move to again, you got Harry Lane breaking it up, and you're
mm.
not giving these guys a chance. Like, I'm not a big fan of Southgate, but if you want to speak on Southgate briefly, you can. If not, we can move on. It's up to you.
Honestly, the guy, I don't even know how he getting the contract extension after Euros. To be honest, I mean, England got like such a host of talent. I mean, some games he doesn't even need to play two defensive mids in Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. So I mean, you got Sancho, Rashford,
Hmm.
Grealish. You got all these guys on the bench.
Mhm.
It doesn't make any sense. We don't want to talk on him too long. Let me
All right,
go
let's
to
move on. Group E briefly.
yeah.
Sweden top the group. Um, I'm thoroughly disappointed in Slovakia, man. My last screener scored in the first game. Poland, it is what it is. Unfortunately, my boy Lewandowski couldn't get out the group stage, but we understand what he's working with. But didn't do anything against Sweden. Sweden is not a team that is to be joked with at all. Because next game we see that they did defeat Slovakia. You draw 1-1 with Poland. I thought that was a dreadful match, horrid match. But something happened. How did Slovakia, a team who have only conceded 2 goals up to that point, had good, in fact, it's very solid performances, concede 5 goals to Spain, a team that couldn't score to save their mother's life? I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this game was rather strange to me. Do you think Slovakia cracked under pressure, or do you think that my boy, Mr. Luis Enrique, has figured it out?
Nope, he has not figured it out. The reason I would say this is because I would have watched the entire match.
Mhm.
The first half, especially, I feel like it was like watching a Barcelona performance. You know, like, oh, this possession
Mhm.
can break down the other team. The team, I think if Slovakia had been better on the counter attacks, I think it would have been a different story. I just think the goalkeeper man for Newcastle, the Babka,
Mhm.
Slovakia goalkeeper, he just had a horror show.
Yeah.
He made 2 awful, dreadful mistakes in the first half, which cost him 2 goals, and I
Mhm.
think it just, Slovakia just collapsed after that.
Right.
It was a shocking performance. I
Yeah.
don't think Spain have turned the corner yet.
Um, I've never seen a team have so much possession but do nothing with it.
The first game, a shocking start, and I don't think we ever saw that in football. The second half, at the end of the first half, the statistic was saying 91% possession to Spain and 9% possession
Sweden.
to Sweden. I don't think we ever saw that in football. At the end of the match, it was they had a bit more possession in the second half, Sweden, and it was like 81% to 19%. But that's crazy, man. The fact that Spain managed to score, I don't know. They need to really become more clinical if they want to, see what's up in this tournament.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of Alvaro Morata. Um,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they did get
If
five
I saw
goals,
that,
but two were own goals in that
yeah,
5-0.
yeah.
Um, I'm not a big Laporte. He's a centre back.
All right then.
Fernando Torres. I mean, he's a good player, but I don't see him as an out and out like
All
goal
right.
scorer. He's a more of a
Precisely.
winger. He's more of a
But
winger.
like he was on the pitch for what 2 seconds, and his first touch he scored, and Morocco was on the pitch for what 80 something minutes. So I don't know what's going on with Morata though. Like Morata he's really a winger. I mean,
Mm,
um, Pep usually plays him as a false nine, but
mhm.
it's questionable. Like what's really going on with Morata that he was on the pitch for 70 plus minutes, nearly 80 minutes, and then Ferrata would just come on and score. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna talk a little bit about Group F, and then we'll move on. The Group of Death. The big boys made it out though. Um,
Yeah.
France, they got the 5 points. Both Germany and Portugal got 4. Hungary got 2. Um, in the first match with Hungary and Portugal, I said that scoreline is very misleading. Because if you watch that match, to me, Hungary deserves some points out of that game. I was not impressed with Portugal one bit. Um, I didn't agree with the penalty that Ronaldo got, but it is what it is. And you did see with the France match, they did come back. And even with Germany, they did give a lot of trouble. Germany had to come back twice.
Yeah.
So I do feel it was unfair that result with Hungary. Um, I want to ask you a question. Do you think? I think the guy name is Santos. Let me get it correct. Fernando Santos. Do you
Yeah.
think he's too defensive minded as a coach? Because you won the Euro 2016. You had less talent then than you do now. But we are not seeing the expansive football that we would like to see from this team. So I want to ask you, Do you think it's Renato Santos? I mean, not Renato Santos. He hasn't here yet. Do you think he's a little too? I don't want to say pragmatic. Do you think he's a little too defensive minded for Portugal's own good?
Yeah, I think to yeah, I mean basically to the approach. I feel like you really that's a good question that you posed. I think that question too. When you think back to the game against Germany,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it really left Portugal wanting. I mean, because their approach was to do the defend and then counter attack,
Mm-hmm.
just absorb the pressure. But I think Germans were a bit too tricky for them, and
Mm-hmm.
they outsmarted them. I mean, the first goal, they would have the goal that Portugal scored actually on the counter, the goal from Cristiano Ronaldo,
Mm-hmm.
and then Germany would have hit them with two goals before the end of the first half. So I think I haven't actually thought about it till you brought it up then,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really a good question, and I think like they need to play a bit more attacking, positive football. I think they don't really need. They usually start the games with William Carvalho and Rafael who's the guy from Odelino Pereira.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, two defensive midfielders, which is not really necessary. And they leave the attacking midfield, Bruno Fernandes. I think
And Bruno has not been
Portugal.
good in this tournament one bit.
No, no. I mean,
To me, Renato Sanchez should be starting above him.
yeah.
I think we
Correctly.
have to ask some
Yeah,
serious questions about this guy. But
yeah.
I think we'll see that for another show. But how good is he
I mean,
really?
yeah. I really think we will really see. We will really see. It depends on if he even plays tomorrow, but we will see who's the real king of attacking midfielders. We will see it will be Man City United battle of he and De Bruyne tomorrow. But Danilo, I don't think he really needs to play two defensive mids.
Exactly.
I think it's all about they have a really good squad, but it really comes down to the manager, and I think like his approach is too negative. If they play more positive, then they will get more positive outcome and play more attractive football as well.
Yeah. I got a question. Did the cat come?
The
Felix. 'Cause he's Portuguese, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I haven't seen him feature any games.
I,
He's on the bench for like all the games. I don't think anything is wrong with him physically, so it goes back to the coach again. Like, what's really going on? Like, I mean, Bruno Fernandes is starting every game, and like Joe Felix, he's such a versatile player. He could play on the wing, he could play false nine, he could play behind strikers in the same role as Bruno Fernandes, who has absolutely done nothing in this tournament. So it really comes down to management.
hold on. I haven't seen him in any lineups. Hold on. Let me see.
He's usually on the bench though. He was on the bench. Yeah, number 23, Joe Felix. He was on the bench versus Hungary in the 3-0 win. Um, Portugal versus Germany.
So why not play
He
him?
wasn't he wasn't on the bench for the Portugal Germany. He was completely out of the squad. Um, but nothing is wrong with him physically, so I don't really know what's going on. Maybe because he was out, he was out of favor with Simeone this season in La Liga, but I don't think managers should really base a player based on sometimes farm for the country. Because look at Oliver Giroud is a good example. He usually turns up for France, but he doesn't really always have a good time, in league football. So I mean, oh yeah, looking at the lineup now for the Portugal France game, he was also on the bench. And he didn't even come off the bench, so you don't know what's going on there.
I don't know what this guy really is playing, but I do wish him the best of luck. He's getting paid more than I am. Um, I want to ask you about Germany quickly because I know you're a big supporter of Germany. The first game they lost, but I still think it was the worst performance ever. We got a battering of Portugal. I do count that second goal by Jota as a pretty lucky one, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that Hungary match, um, it left me wanting.
Yeah.
Do you see Germany going far in this tournament, or do you think that this? it is what it is. It's the end of the road for European law. If we win the next game, cool. If not, it is what it is. And is in for lowest reign as Germany's manager. You know, what do you think is going on with Germany? Because I know we spoke in the past. We said we think Germany needs a rebuild, not rebuild, but we think they need a new manager to carry the team forward. We've spoken on that on numerous occasions, and I do agree with that. But do you think Mr. Lowe could carry them to a quarterfinals in this tournament at minimum?
Uh-huh. Well, the funny thing about it is, honestly, he may deny it, but most managers, once they have won a World Cup, they get complacent.
Mm-hmm.
He also know that that Germans, are totally believe in him, and that, well, it's kind of more so in the past as the present. They losing faith in Joachim Low now,
Mm-hmm.
but he would have gotten so comfortable. I don't think, like, losing. I mean, the fact they would have been not to be in the group stage of the World Cup. He's still manager. He's so comfortable. Like, sometimes he makes decisions that are very controversial, but he's so comfortable in his job that he still goes ahead and does it because he knows no one's going to call him out. But in terms of the football, no, I find Germany, they play better when they're under pressure or when they're expected to lose. Like the Portugal game, they knew that Portugal was favorites, so they really, from the first second of that game, they were really coming out and pushing and running at Portugal to get the win. Whereas in the Hungary game now, they would have been, they knew they would be favorites against Hungary, so they were a bit lackadaisical. Um, and to me, I think they would have underestimated Hungary a bit, even though they would have saw the the 1-0 draw the Hungary had with France. I think they still underestimated Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of how far they would get in the competition, I think due to the fact that they're on, they said the draw, which will arguably, because they're not really soft teams and this is only 16 now,
Mm-hmm.
um, arguably a bit easier. I could see them getting, semis most, but I just, for some reason, I'm not seeing them in the final. If they do make the final, then they probably have a really good chance to win because it would be like a slight miracle if they make it,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. Yeah, if they do make the final, then they really have a good. They probably would go all the way, but I don't see them getting to the final. I see them making semis, minimum if they get past England.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do our actual round of 16 preview.
Yeah.
You know. But before we gotta do a little plug-in. Gotta do a little plug-in before we get there. Remember, guys, check out the Beer Conversations podcast. Links down in the description. And also, if you get a chance, check out my guy, Mr. Zacchariah, on Twitch. He streams Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. He's currently playing the single player game on Friday. It's currently Dishonored. So when you get a chance, check him out. A very entertaining streamer and a bearded conversation. You have Mr. Teague, we got Mr. Chad, we got Zian, and we got Mr. Kwame. Very entertaining cast. So guys, get a chance, check it out. Too, it's a guys, it's a great content creation in Barbados, man. So check it out. But you know what? We gotta do this round of 16 preview, man. So
Yeah.
we got the bracket up. All right, today we had Italy versus Austria, and we had Wales versus Denmark. I'll be honest with you. The way these games played out, happened in inverse, in my opinion. I honestly thought Italy would have battered Austria, and Denmark would have gotten the win, but it'd be like 2-1 and maybe even going to extra time. But it turned out to be the other way around. Denmark had a very convincing performance over Wales. Um, I think Wales started pretty decent, but I just think it just fell apart after the first goal. What's your thoughts on? 'Cause you got a chance of watching the entire match. Well, what was your thoughts on the Wales Denmark game?
Yeah. Basically, well, in the first 10 minutes or so, Bill would have had a shot that was just a few centimeters away from the post.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, However, apart from that, after the chance, Wales were just completely dominant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Denmark were completely dominant. Wales just couldn't find a way into the game. Uh, I find Denmark had the game with a lot of maturity. They played this game that they played like they were at this level, like they were playing around the 16, before, you know, they played a lot of around the 16 games before this one, like, like the players just gave it everything they had. I find like, Wales were second to the ball a lot. Like Denmark is almost like Denmark had 12 men out there. If you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think they just thoroughly deserved the win. And not only were they more clinical, but they created a lot more chances. I think Wales only had like one shot on target in one match.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a really good performance, and looking forward to see who Denmark will have to play next and how they perform.
Yeah, and briefly, we're going to talk about the Italy game. I did it. I only got to saw a bit of the stoppage time. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if you were able to see the game. Were you able to see the first half or second half of the Italy
Yes,
Austria game?
yes. They actually watched the whole of the first half and the second half. I mean, Aixene hit the post. He took a shot from about 25, 30 meters out. Um, Immobile, he took a shot from about 25 meters out and hit the post. I mean, keeper didn't have a chance. That was around the 20th minute or so. I mean, Austria came up with a game plan to basically, defend and then counter attack. It was working pretty well. Italy created better chances in the first half.
Mm.
The starting second half, though, Austria, they were really pushing at Italy. Alaba had a free kick that just went over the post. And then I think Mancini, this was really about Mancini, in my opinion. He brought off um, Berardi, Verratti. He brought on Chiesa, Belotti. He took off Immobile. I mean, oh, Spinazzola, he was tremendous.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was, I mean, everything, all the attacks were coming through him. And to no surprise, the assist for the goal, for the second goal was through him. Chiesa, it was a brilliant first touch and volley.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying from the start of the tournament that I was shocked that Chiesa wasn't starting, but I think it's really not down to the manager. It's just down to the depth and the quality of this Italian side that was keeping Chiesa out of the team. But it was a very good contribution that Chiesa would have made because I think Italy only had like one shot on target before Chiesa came on, and he came on and he had like two shots on target within a space of like 10 minutes. He
Yeah.
had a shot on target too just before the goal, so I think it was very really good substitution. I think the substitution was what won the match for Mancini, to be honest.
That team has
The
a lot of
Austrian
depth.
players, yeah, correct, yeah, correct. I think the fact that he was able to bring Locatelli off of the bench for Barella, that was also, it does show how strong this Italian team is. Yeah, so I know you wasn't able to watch the match, but I know you would have been extremely delighted.
Of course.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was like a favorite team. I've always been a fan, and like I know, this is a noise of Inter fans, but I'm a big fan of Chiesa, and
yeah.
you've seen what he's done today. And also, we gotta give a big shout out to um, a gentleman who is
Mm-hmm,
also an Interista
mm-hmm.
in what we got my gentleman's near right here. We got Matteo. Finista. I get butcher his name all the time, but he's a big Interista man. He got the second goal and turned to be the game winning goal. And this guy looks good.
Yeah.
This guy looks good. And
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about Italy's front line because
Mhm.
I like Insigne, but I think he's a bit hit and miss and Immobile. But the
Yeah.
fact you could bring on Bellotti, who I think is a
Yeah.
good player.
Quality striker.
Yeah. You
Make
got
him on.
Chiesa, midfielder but more attacking.
Yeah.
You still got my boy Lucatelli,
Yeah.
Cristante,
Yeah.
and a man that I've been singing his praises for a long time.
Bernadeschi.
Stop it now.
I know. I know you.
Right, we got Mr. Raspadori on the bench. Bastoni in defense. This is a very solid team.
Yeah. Yep. Taloy. Yeah.
Yeah, good team. Yeah, you only two bricks, I think, are Sirigu and Bernadeschi. But to be fair, Bernadeschi does turn up for Italy, though. He's the Giroud of Italy.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. But I also like you said earlier.
Oh,
Very impressive to
I
see.
remember guy's name. It's Pessina. Pessina. Matteo Pessina. I butchered his name the first name. It's Pessina. Fella
Yeah.
Interista. So you know what to do. You know what to do. You know what to do, sir.
Yeah.
Follow
Yeah.
Mr.
Thanks for that.
Follow Mr. Chalanalu. You know what to do. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
But he's been very impressive too. I think it's his second goal or third goal of the tournament. I think
I
second
think
goal.
his second goal. Yeah.
But he's playing well as well. I mean, the fact that Italy could bring him off the bench, yeah, praise
Um,
him.
I'm a bit worried Italy though because Mr. Chiellini isn't there.
Mm,
I still think Mr. Bastoni should be starting.
yeah, over Serbia. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Acerbi,
no,
but I kind of get
not a solid.
he's had a bit more experience working with Bonucci.
Yeah,
But if Chiellini is back for the next game, I think Italy still has a good chance,
mm-hmm,
especially depending on who gets out of the Belgium Portugal game.
mm-hmm.
So how you want to run these previews? You want to go by date or you want to go by matchups?
Uh,
Because
making matchup.
you want to do matchups.
Yeah,
All right. And the way it lines up is actually pretty good. We can start a bit at the unknown side. We got Netherlands, Czech Republic.
yeah,
Now, Netherlands should win this,
should.
but is Mr. Frank de Boer coaching this team?
Huh.
Czech Republic are a solid side, not a great side. I think this could go anywhere.
Yeah, it can. However, I do think like as much as we don't have confidence in the boy, I still think that he has a bit more experience than the
Mm,
Czech Republic. Czech Republic side and the manager.
mm,
I feel like slightly like Czech Republic maybe like on the same level as Ukraine in
mm.
terms of
Yeah, yeah.
experience. I could see that they're giving Netherlands a hard time,
Mm,
and then Netherlands squeezing out a late goal if they get it against Ukraine. But I do think it will definitely be closer than people think.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you're going with Netherlands on this one.
Netherlands, but very slick. Yeah,
All right. I want to see the Netherlands, but as I always say, you need a shock in the tournament. You
yeah,
need a shot. And I got two games that people might criticize me,
mm-hmm,
but I think we need a shot. But for now, I can play it safe.
mm-hmm.
I see the Netherlands. I might switch before the stream is up.
Okay,
But I still think we need a shocker in this tournament. And but we can roll with Netherlands for now. We can roll with Netherlands to go through.
uh-huh.
All right. No, as I said, no. We're doing matchups, and the next matchup now would be We got Belgium versus Portugal.
Hmm. Huge, huge game.
No, I think this is where you gotta prove yourself.
Hmm.
The problem with Portugal is they don't ever look impressive, but can get the job done. Especially kind of this stage. But Belgium looks good.
Yeah,
Belgium looks good.
yeah.
My one thing with Belgium is you can maybe criticize the defense, but they do look good. You do have Lukaku at the striker. You got the two. You got the two Hazards. So if you can make job with Hazard or if Hazard or whatever, but you know he's there. You got Mr.
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Mhm.
He might not be the biggest person in the world, but I'm a fan of Witzel. Solid defensive midfielder.
Yeah, he puts in his shift for
Can
sure.
always playing a good shift.
Yeah.
As I said, and you have Mr. Thibaut Courtois in goal. Now, but when you look at Portugal, you got Mr. CR7 up front.
Uh-huh.
You got Mr. Diego Jota. You got Bernardo Silva. Mr. Renato Sanchez.
Uh-huh.
We may criticize him, but you have Bruno Fernandes. You have Joe Felix if he plays or not. You got a lot of men that could create a lot of trouble. My problem is you also got a shaky backline. Um, the only man in that defense I kind of respect right now is Ruben Diaz.
Yeah.
Pepe is my boy, but Pepe, this in 2012 Pepe. This in
Uh-huh.
2014 Pepe. Pepe said Pepe has always been a bit wild, but I think he's becoming more and more liability as time goes on.
Yeah.
And let me keep it real. Your goalkeeper plays for Wolverhampton. I am going for Belgium in this one. But Portugal are a very tricky side. But I will go for Belgium to get the job done. What about you, Mr. Kev?
Huh. Huh. Well, hmm. Coming to man. I think this will be a game that I feel like De Bruyne will turn up in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he and Lukaku is a deadly combination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this Portugal side, I mean, Ruben Diaz he's solid defensively. I mean, let's be real though. Pepe is 38 now. One of the best performances he had in the last 5 years was the game against Juventus in Champions League this season, the Porto Champions Juventus game.
Brilliant performance.
Um, I think he was a rock at centre back in that game. Um, but when it comes to stamina now, when the pressure is really on, because I do no disrespect to this Juventus side, but they were lost. They were lost for you know in terms of tactics and trying to break down teams. This season they struggled a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Porto to me, yes, they were good defensively, but in terms of attack and trying to break down teams and coming up with solutions,
Mm-hmm.
this Juventus to me this season were a bit off the pace. So yes, credit to Pepe in that game, but in the other stages against a solid side like Chelsea, Porto crumbled. Uh, so I think it will be a similar case. I think like yes, Hungary should have got a better result, but Pepe and Ruben Diaz were able to see them off.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were actually a bit fortunate against France. I think, as I say, coming the man,
Mm-hmm.
De Bruyne has that killer eye. to play a pass in behind defense.
And it's not fun
I
though.
think yeah, precisely. The pressure. It's a bit share that you're throwing there, but it's not final. So um, I feel like Lukaku's movement and everything is amazing. So his physical strength. Yeah, I mean, Ruben Diaz is also very fast and strong, but I think like it's just going to be too much tomorrow for Pepe and Ruben Diaz to handle. So I am going with Belgium. I really haven't predicted your score, but I'm going to go with probably 2-1 to Belgium. Yeah, 2-1 to Belgium.
All right, you're going to Belgium, and just as I am. Um, let's look at now Croatia versus Spain. Two teams that I think have underperformed at this tournament. How you look at this? I don't trust Luis Enrique, and I don't trust Morata. To me, I think Croatia's time at top is up, but you still got Luka Modric, you still got Perisic, and 80 even my boy my boy not my boy Brozovic could still do a little something.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
This is a tough one. Yeah, I don't trust Spain in this, but I can see them getting through. But my heart telling me some way, somehow, Mr. Luka Modric will provide for Brozovic, for not Brozovic, my boy Perisic to
Perisic.
score.
Perisic. Yeah.
And they saying a 1-0 shutout. Spain does nothing with the ball for the rest of the game performance. So I'm going for a Croatia victory. Mr. Kev, what's your opinion, man?
I love your analysis. But the thing about it is that this I have no faith in Luis Enrique. I think the squad has been very mediocre um, in their performances. However, though this Croatia team, they're not at the same level that they were at, in the World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
20, the 2018 World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, more or less some of the same players, excluding probably Mandzukic and a few, but this
You may
game,
got Petkovic as a striker, be yeah.
I seen. This how we see it going.
Mm-hmm.
I see Modric pulling the strings in midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like a goal to Croatia. I think I see it in a scoreless first half, and probably the goal to Croatia in maybe 60, 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But Spain are going to burst their bubble. Spain are going to be very, very, very first in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to get a goal in like the 80, 70 minute, probably 89.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, I'm going to go to extra time
Mm-hmm.
and probably penalties. And I see Croatia winning on penalties.
Whoa, so
Don't mind that.
you see how Croatia
Spain have
winning it? See how Croatia winning
Spain,
off
Spain have
penalties?
Spain have more technically gifted players, but I still think like I just think like Croatia gonna pull this out in penalties. I just think that Croatia gonna go through. Yeah, that's how we see it going.
I honestly thought you were gonna say that Morata gonna score in the 180th minute.
No, he would need 4 extra times to score.
Yo,
He would need two matches to score.
all right, so
That they said 3 or 4.
so we are both going for a Croatian victory.
Yeah, Croatia victory. Yeah.
All right, and then we're gonna have a France Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I don't know about this one, boy. I know it should be a France easy dub, but as you drew out, France is to me. I said it's the only team that win a World Cup in second gear.
Hmm. Hmm.
I, I, uh, but let's keep it real. Did France have a good tournament so far?
I mean, have they really gotten out of first year?
That's
That's
probably we
right.
gotta ask.
Yep.
But you think it's a playing Switzerland? Surely France can't lose to Switzerland. But we need to upset somewhere, somehow in this. But I don't know if it can come today.
I don't think so either.
I think France is gonna pull it out. Mr. Benzema and Mr. Mbappe are going to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
2-0 to France. Mr. Kev,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
your opinion.
Um. Yeah, France gonna boss this game. I think France have a point to prove. They
Mm-hmm.
want to be. I do believe they want to cement that 2018 World Cup win.
Mm-hmm.
They want, they probably annoyed that they're not number one in the world. That Belgium is classified as number one in the world in inverted commas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can see. I honestly, but Switzerland actually do have an okay side, a decent side. They have your boy Shaqiri,
Mm-hmm.
the the right back Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
I see Switzerland at least getting a goal in this game. So I don't know if it'll be late consolation goal or if it'll be an early goal and then France come back and score a couple on them. But
Mm-hmm.
I see a 3-1 to France.
Sure, want to France?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, we got England versus Germany. Heading into this tournament, we got a lot of English hype. We got a lot of Germany dismissal, and Germany hasn't been so impressive so far. Even though I even though England has have 7 points, let me make sure your tally's correct. You have 7 points. I'm not be very impressed by England either. And as I said, this tournament needs upset. And I do believe Mr. Joachim Low and Mario Onushigu Neuer will pull it off and not England out of this tournament. It's wild, it's crazy, but I'm going for Germany victory here. Kev, talk on your boys.
Well, I think it's going to be a 50-50 game, to be honest. Um, Playing at Wembley, Germany have had the upper hand against England in the past couple of meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's going to be a game where fine margins are going to decide the outcome of the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Whoever
remember
enters
Jack
that
Grealish and
goal.
Sancho ain't playing. Let's get that clear.
Pardon?
Remember Jack Grealish and Sancho are not playing. Bellingham is not playing.
I mean, if he plays Mount and Foden, and I mean, England will still have a chance with our folks Sancho and Grealish.
Harry Kane hasn't scored.
I mean, yeah, he's claiming that this is going to be the game that he's going to turn up and that he's hitting his physical, his physical best form in a long time. I don't know how true that is. Probably just trying to hype up himself, get people off his back and make sure he's still in the starting lineup. But I think it's going to be a game. I think
Saka will go back.
Germany is going to be a bit more
Saka will go back to the bench.
Who?
Saka will go back to the bench.
F who would go back to the bench?
Saka.
Saka?
Yeah.
I don't believe he's going to start this game. I think
Jordan Henderson going to start. And Trashford.
possibly. Yeah. Um, I, I think Germany play better than every other against them. I mean, it's going to be at Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have scripted England as one of the favorites to win. They don't know on God's earth they could have come to that conclusion, but that's what the English media is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Germany just love to prove people wrong. So I can see a 2-1 to Germany,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a 2-1 to Germany, but I think England would score probably the goal of the match probably. Like a really outstanding goal, but I just think I still see Germany being more efficient
Mm-hmm.
and being more clinical. So yeah, 2-1 to Germany.
All right. And our final match, Sweden versus Ukraine.
Interesting game.
This is a pretty level match.
Yeah.
This is a pretty level match. But I still feel that my boys Sweden gonna pull this off.
Hmm?
I got Sweden to pull this off. I got Sweden to pull this off.
Okay.
I just got a feeling about this. I just got Sweden to win this. What about you, Kev?
Honestly, I mean, Sweden, Sweden defensively, going forward, they have been very balanced tournament. Um, they haven't had the toughest of opponents, but they've been very efficient and they have done what they have to done, under the radar,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still performing. That guy, Forsberg, and they feel is
Yeah, you don't need
he's a
job.
force
You don't need
to
job,
be
man.
reckoned with. Yeah, I think, yeah, you're gonna probably say this is my favorite score prediction,
Mm-hmm.
but you know how these games are so close.
Don't tell me 6-0.
I see 2-1 to Sweden.
No, that sounds good. I like that one.
I see 2-1 to Sweden.
I,
Yeah.
I got 1-0 Sweden. I think it's gonna be a good shut up performance.
Okay.
I take my boy, my dark fella. It's good. I pronounce his name. I pronounce his name. Number 12.
You mean for
Alexander
England?
is
Isaac.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got my boy. I got
So
my boy to score.
yeah.
I got my black fella to score.
Yeah. So see that he's a good talent. He's very good.
Yeah, Zlatan number
Just
2. So that's what we're going with. And on that note, that concludes our show tonight. Thank you, Mr. Kev Carter, for coming on. You know,
always a joy.
yeah, I hope we
Yeah,
don't get
always a
roasted.
pleasure.
Hope we don't get roasted in the comment section. And
Hmm.
probably we will. And we look back on our previews. They see what we got wrong, and then probably we'll do another. We'll do the quarterfinals preview, and maybe we even got for Copa America because I know the group stages
Yeah.
are still playing out in that. So we'll
Sure.
we'll show you back later on, guys. Remember to comment, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah. Always a pleasure.